What's up, everyone? It's Paul, the MMA Shark, and I am here ahead of Bellator 285, which has a main event of Benson Henderson versus Peter Queally. Probably not the best main event to have on Bellator Dublin, considering it gets packed, absolutely packed at the 3 Arena in Dublin. But overall, looking over the card, it's a solid card. Bellator has been money for the MMA Shark, for my subscribers. They haven't been very active. Tomorrow really starts their active season. They have another 5 events to round up the year, some really big events with the Grand Prix finals coming up. So this card's just okay as far as talent and fight-wise. I think as far as profit-wise, I think it's a pretty good card. There's some really favorable lines. And then, there's a couple close fights, and there's some extremely chalky fights. So I'm going to go through some of these fights, most of these fights, and just kind of discuss what you guys are going to be watching. And I'll give out a free play or two. A subscription to the MMA Shark, I put plays out on every fight. So there's 13 fights on Bellator tomorrow. There'll be 13 straight plays and or parlays and props. If you followed all my other videos here on YouTube, congratulations, you've made money. Everything I've put out has been in the plus. For UFC Fight Night 60, the free plays went 3-0. For Dana White's Contender Series, they went 3-2 with a parlay that I told you to take between Bruno Ferreira and Rosas Jr. So, I've seen some people sign up to the MMA Shark through YouTube, and I think that's great that it's working out. I love coming here and talking about the card, breaking it down, but at the end of the day, too, it's a business. So thank you to those who have signed up through YouTube, and I'll continue to make these videos. And, if you want to continue to make money, head over to www.themmashark.com and sign up. Each subscription is good for 30 days. It auto-renews. The regular rate is $109 a month. I'm offering 25% off your first month. If you go to checkout, just use the code YouTube25 to save 25% off your first month. And the best part about if you sign up today or tomorrow, your first month covers you right through UFC Makhachev versus Oliveira. So, you got Sterling and Dillashaw on that card. You've got Piotr Jan and the Clown Kid on that card. I refuse to say his name because I just can't stand him. But, the next 30 days of MMA are about to be absolute fire. It's been a really good September. We're 7-1 on the month on cards, up right around 20 units this month. It's not a monstrous month. It's not a 93-unit month like February was, but it's a winning month. And, we got a couple cards left to close out the month. We've got Bellator 285 tomorrow. We have the final Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday, where I'm sitting at 7 wins and 2 losses over the weeks, hitting those fights at about 74%. Next weekend, we have a Good Cage Warriors card, and there's an LFA next weekend. So a lot of MMA left to talk about in September. October is just going to be incredible. The amount of MMA, there's 5 UFCs in October, there's 2 Bellators, there's 4 or 5 LFAs, we have Cage Warriors, some big boxing events. So, October's a month, and, you sign up now, you get the tail end of September, and through October 22nd, gets you covered for UFC 280, which everyone is talking about it over in Abu Dhabi. The UFC just didn't care about budgets for that card. They are going full tilt, and just every UFC card in October. I have my favorite dozen plays to the side already, looking to make my subscribers a lot of money. The fourth quarter last year was my best quarter by far, so being up right now in September makes me feel good. But I think October, November, December, we're just going to roll through the end of the year. Competition is football. Lose your money on football. If that happens, check us out. We'll bail you out. Happens all the time. So www.themmashark.com. You can use a promo code, and the link is attached to this video, and that promo code is YouTube25. It's the only deal I'm running right now. It's 25% off your first month. You can cancel anytime. You're not signing a contract if you're not happy with it. I highly, highly recommend giving it 3 months of result. Look at your ROI after 3 months, and you're going to say, wow, that was worth the investment. Being up the amount of units that we win and that we're up, you don't need to be a $200 a unit better or a $100 a unit better. I think you need to be a $10 to $25 a unit better. If you're a high roller, 50 to 100 a unit. I got guys that bet 1,000 a unit. So you don't need to be a big bettor to make money with my system. It just works. So follow it. If you sign up, follow the system. The plays come out by text. I make it very clear, and I'm available throughout the whole entire fight card. Should you have any questions on, whether you have a different line or whatnot, or if you're confused on a play, you shoot me a message right through the text. I get back to you. So before I start my breakdown of Bellator 285, I've got to address the elephant in the room, and that's my shirt. Yankees. Aaron Judge hits 61 tonight or tomorrow. Big-time Yankee fan. We're going to make that World Series run. Mad love for Judge to get this 62nd, 63rd, and us to clinch the division and knock off Houston. So if you're not a Yankee fan, we could still do some business. I could still make you money. But let's go Yankees. All right, prelims tomorrow. One thing I do like about this card is the prelims are actually very well matched. You got Gym 01 and SBG battling it out. And if this fight were in the States, it would be like Sarah Longo versus Alpha Male or Fusion XL versus Sanford MMA. I mean, it's just two of the biggest gyms in Europe going at it. You have Gym 01 out of Portsmouth, England, and SBG, of course, the famous gym in Dublin, Ireland. So I wait to hear how rowdy these fans are tomorrow. We're going to start watching this card at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow here in the States, on the East Coast, my time at least. And, there'll be 50,000 people in there, and it's going to be rowdy, a crazy environment. Handicapping a card like this, judging assignments, and referees are very important because there's going to be a robbery or two, and I'm going to be prepared for that. So with that said, I want to go through some of the fights and give you guys a free play or two and share some thoughts about some of the fights. So fight one, we have Dante Schiro out of the U.S. taking on Luka Poclit. Luka is out of SBG in Dublin. He is 7-1. 7 of his wins have come by finish. 4 by submission, 1 by TKO. Dante Schiro, man, he's tough. We saw him fight on Bellator. He's got 8 finishes, all 100% finish rating. I'm sorry, actually, one by decision, so he's got a 93% finish rating. I'm sorry. He has 5 by submission, 3 by knockout. He can get it done any way. What most impressed me with Dante was he took the fight to Logan Storley. Logan's been pretty much untouchable on Bellator, and he dropped the split decision to Logan. So that was a big win. I see why the odds are lined up the way they are on this. You got Dante coming in at minus 195. You have Luka, and I like the name Luka. I have a son named Luka. But you have Luka, the plus 165 underdog, fighting at home, fighting out of SBG Dublin. So pretty interesting matchup there. I've got my mind made up on it. Just not a free play I'm willing to put out. But, and I do say fight 1, fight 2, fight 3. Bellator prelims sometimes are like, whoever wants to come out next, come out next. They never really particularly stick to the order. Maybe being in Dublin, they will. There's always the possibility of post-lims, too. So if they don't have the prelims done by 4 p.m. our time on the East Coast, they'll continue with the main card and go out of order and, put your bets in before the fights start because, especially for the prelims, it kind of turns a little sloppy. But I'm going off projected fight order. Fight 2, I'm going to give a free play on, and I'll give that free play later on in this video. While you're here, just take that extra second to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the MMA Shark. Give the video a like, drop a comment, give me some feedback, give me some thoughts on the card. Tell me where you differ on what I'm saying. Tell me what you agree with. I want to communicate with you guys. I want to see what you guys are thinking. Tell me who you love on this card. Tell me who you hate on this card. Interaction's awesome, and as I interact with my subscribers throughout the whole fight card, I'd love to see some feedback and hear some comments. Outside of handicapping MMA, I love MMA. I love watching it. I love everything about it. So give this channel a subscribe. So in fight 2, we have Adjoudj, who is fighting out of SBG, taking on Jordan Barton, fighting out of Gym 01 in Portsmouth, England. Jordan Barton is 7-2. He's got 5 finishes. And he just knocked off 8-0 Fabricala Diatta on Bellator 175. That was a pretty big win. Adjoudj is a stud. He is a very good wrestler. He's strong. He's tough. He's very big for the 145 division. He's not really been battle tested. He's 3-1, and those 3 wins have come off of a 1-1, an 0-1, and an 0-1. So combined records of his wins are 2-1-1. So nothing really drastic there, as where Barton just knocked off an 8-0 on Bellator 175. So pretty good stylistic matchup too. You've got the more well-rounded fighter in Jordan Barton taking on a much stronger and more aggressive Adjoudj. So that's going to be a pretty good fight in my opinion. Right now you got Barton the -150 favorite. And there hasn't been much line movement, so I'm pretty sure that the public is torn on that fight. Fight 3, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. You've got one of the top prospects out of SBG, and that's Kenny Mokhonoana. He's a stud, fighting Alex Bodnar. Bodnar is 2 decisions and 2 submission losses in his amateur career. He's 4-1 as a pro. That one loss was by submission. Kenny Mokhonoana being the submission specialist, I can see why the line is what it is. Right now it's around a -350 favorite for Kenny Mokhonoana. I'm not going to have a play on that fight. It's just kind of something to watch. I don't really see any value on either side of that. It's likely not going to go the distance, if that's any help. But nothing free or official for me. Like I said, I'm going to have an official free play or two later on in this video. Fight 4 is going to be an interesting fight. You got Queally, who is just a complete stud, even though he's only 1-0. That one win happened in Dublin last time it was UFC, or last time Bellator was there. And he knocked off Junior Morgan in the first round by submission. Junior Morgan was 3-0 at the time. He's taking on a pretty tough Gym 01 prospect in Kyle Stevens, who is 3-1, and he's a really tough kid. Stevens is plus 330 in this fight as a 3-1, and Stevens is better than a plus 330. So I'm thinking the odds makers are just thinking that Queally is the real deal. Conor McGregor trained fighter, tough fighter. He's confident. To make your Bellator debut in that arena and win so in such dominating fashion, I kind of understand why he's -410. Not a chance in hell I'm laying 410 to win anything on him. I'm not even saying he wins the fight, but closer fight than the odds. Stevens may be a live dog there. Give me your feedback on it. 3-1, tough prospect, hard to finish. Is Queally that good, or did the odds makers get this one wrong? The next fight is pretty interesting. You have Georgi Karakhanyan versus Kane Mousah. They're both getting up in age. Mousah is out of Manchester. He's 13-4. He's coming in at plus 165, where Georgi Karakhanyan is 37 years old. He is coming in at minus 195. He lost 2 in a row. But those 2 losses were to Sal Rogers and Adam Piccolotti. So much higher competition he's been fighting than Mousah has. One thing with Mousah is, even though he's 38 years old, he's very tough to finish. He's good to go the distance, as is Karakhanyan. So Probably a bit of a snoozer fight, maybe a coin flip fight. Nothing I'm putting a free play out on. I'm going to have a play on it, and I think the judges may have the last call in this fight. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the next prelim, probably one of the more exciting prelims in my mind is Albrektsson versus Carl Moore. Carl's definitely winning this fight because they're both named Carl, unless it's a draw. Carl Moore has been really inactive. He hasn't fought since September 2019, as to where Carl Albrektsson has been fighting a lot of tough competition. He's 8-2 his last 10. His 2 losses have come to Phil Davis and Yuri Prohaska. So it's 205, one of the most unpredictable divisions. But I'm going to give a free lean on that one, and that is going to be on Carl Albrektsson. He's coming in right around minus 170 right now. I just think Carl Moore has been too inactive. He is 9-2. It's 205. Anything can happen. I'm going to have some props, maybe parlay this with the subscription. But pretty good fight there. And following that fight is arguably the second worst fight on the card. And we'll touch on the worst fight on the card when we get to the main event. But the second worst fight on the card is Brian Moore. He's 14-9, nothing spectacular, trains out of SBG. And he's taken on Lima de Silva, who is 40 years old, making his Bellator debut. And obviously it sounds like Lima de Silva is 40 years old, making his Bellator debut versus an SBG guy at plus 300. He's probably there to get killed. Subscribers know the answer to that one already. So, and it may surprise some, it may not. So, moving right along past that one. I mean, that's just, it's a crap fight. And you kind of have to expect that with some Bellator cards until they get in the U.S. and get into the Grand Prix finales where they really build up the undercard. Like I said in the beginning, this is an okay card. It's not a killer card. It's a good card to make money on. More so than to be like enthralled by the fact that how good these fights are. One prelim left and we get to the main card, and I've got to imagine that the guy in this prelim has got to be super disrespected that he's on the Bellator prelims versus a fighter who's 12-3 and not really known. We've got 18-3 Brent Johns, who did not renew his contract with the UFC. He was not cut from the UFC. His only 2 losses in the UFC were versus Pedro Munoz and Aljamain Sterling, and he actually had Sterling hurt in that fight, which is pretty hard to do. Everyone calls him a clown. Everyone thinks he's a joke, but at the end of the day, he decisively put a stamp on him being the bantamweight champion. And I'm not just saying this because he's a good friend of mine, but Aljamain Sterling's the real deal. He played with Petr Yan in that fight. And, the fact that Dana even thought that Yan won that fight is comical. He played with his food in that fight. I think he should have just went for the finish, but he wanted to prove that he can go 5 rounds with Yan. But totally off topic, and that's just the MMA fan in me. So you have Brent Johns in this fight, and Brett is coming in hot. He did lose to Sabatello, and he's a really good wrestler. He's got really good offensive wrestling. Sabatello, he just drives me nuts. I mean, and the refs let him get away with it every fight. No striking, complete ground and pound. Never tries to improve position, and that's kind of what he did to Brett Johns. He's taken on Jordan Winski out of the U.S. He's actually out of Wisconsin. He's a good wrestler. Brett Johns has better offensive wrestling. Maybe Brett tries to make a statement in this fight. He's fighting in Europe. He's from Wales, UFC vet. He opened up at minus 430. It is now swelled to minus 720. So, if someone's that crazy to lay minus 720 to make a couple dollars, have at it. If you have a capper telling you to do that, something straight at minus 720, don't pay him. Just do that on your own. Winski's not terrible. He's not on the level of Brett Johns, though. So that actually winds out the prelims. That's a total of 9 prelims tomorrow. I'm sorry, 8 prelims tomorrow. They did lose one on the scale. 13 fights in total and 8 prelims, 5 on the main card. So the main card is expected to kick off at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, East Coast time. All my videos are East Coast time. I'm up in the Northeast where it'll be snowing in a week or two. Good main card. I'm going to say a good main card. I think the co-main and the main event, not so good. The main card in general is good. I'm not sitting here saying it's a fire main card. But you have Clarke coming back. He has 3 finishes, 2 decision wins. He's 5-0 out of SBG. And he's taking on Hudson. Hudson's from Portugal. He has a reach advantage in this fight. He has a speed advantage in this fight. That's his only advantage. He's plus 460. Clarke's coming back at minus 610. Again, nothing we can do straight with that fight. Nothing I would want to do straight with that fight. I have props on that fight. I might have some parlays on that fight. Stylistically, Clarke being such a big favorite, giving up a reach and speed advantage to Hudson, it could be a surprise. There's going to be some underdogs cashing on this card. There's no way all these minus 400, minus 600, minus 700 guys win. Almost like Contender Series, but last week they did all win, but it wasn't as chalky. But, we have hit so many plus 400, plus 500. We had Parrish plus 2,200 in a Bellator prelim, and he won by first round knockout, Ben Parrish. I'll never forget it. All my subscribers were chanting Big Tuna, and, so Bellator is a lot more unpredictable because the matchmaking is not as tight as UFC. So, looking at that fight, Hudson at plus 460, Clarke 5-0, all first or second round finishes, coming back at 610. Not a price I'm willing to pay. Not a price I'm willing to release to subscribers. Fight 10 and 11, I think, are the best 2 fights on the card. You've got UFC vet Mads Burnell, who's at 16-4, taking on longtime Bellator vet Pedro Carhalho. And Carvalho's not bad. He was knocked out by Pitbull. Who wasn't? Basically anyone he fought was knocked out by Pitbull. He's 12-6, training out of SBG. I just feel like they put all of SBG on the card because that's what they're building this card around. The weird thing is I'm not on a lot of the SBG guys, but I'm on some of them, of course. I just don't think SBG goes out there and just sweeps it all tomorrow night. And the lines reflect that. Carhalho is plus 330, and Mads Burnell is minus 410. Mads Burnell has a way of basically choosing how he wants to win fights. He can win by decision, he can grind out a win, he can win by TKO, he can win by submission. He's out of Denmark, training at Extreme Couture when he's in the U.S., and his only Bellator loss was versus Borix, who's 18-1. So that's a quality loss that he had. I mean, I know it's a loss, but that's a number 2 guy in the world right now. So all signs point on Mads Burnell in that fight, but at minus 410, I'm not touching it. But I do have a large play on that fight that I'll be releasing to my subscribers. Only way to get the large plays are signing up at www.themmashark.com. Use promo code YouTube25 at checkout. It's a very, very simple process. The link is listed under this video, so you click on the link, it'll take you right to it. The code will already be applied if you click on the link, and it's good for 30 days. What a way to start tomorrow, right through UFC 280. Get your money back on the first fight or two, and then you're going to get my professional analysis right throughout. And of course, no results are guaranteed, but my system has not really been on the wrong side of much, other than UFC 278 August 20th. But it was a bad night. It happens, and the capper you want is the one that's not afraid to admit it. I had Leon Edwards losing that fight, which he was the whole fight. I had Jose Aldo out there to win that fight. He didn't. I had Jared Gordon to win inside distance. He didn't. So, one bad night doesn't define something I've been doing for 7 years and constantly been up for 7 years on. So, yeah, on the Burnell-Carvalho fight, I'm going to have a pretty large play. Nothing straight, so nothing I could really release here. Stick around, though. I promise. 2 free plays. We have a weird one here. We've got the Curse, Leah McCourt, taking on Diana Silva. And Diana Silva is the favorite here at 10-7. Leah McCourt is very well trained, trains with Molly McCann, trains with Patty Pimlet. Patty the Batty. I know there's a lot of Patty the Batty fans out there. She's in tight with Conor McGregor. Her and Molly McCann have done a lot of sparring and wrestling together for this camp. Diana has not won in her last 4 fights, other than one split decision. She's done some grappling matches. She's lost them. She's done some pro Muay Thai bouts. She's lost them. She's the minus 115 favorite. And I get it. Leah McCourt looked awful versus Kavanaugh last fight, which was in the same arena. So maybe she's resparked for this fight. She's still 6-2 as a pro. She successfully made weight today. Silva successfully made weight today and didn't look good doing it. She's a little bigger and stronger than McCourt. Personally, I think McCourt is a better, well-rounded fighter, a more trained fighter, and more importantly, at plus 115, she's a live dog, and she's going to be a free play. So Leah McCourt, I'm announcing right now, is a free play for that fight tomorrow at plus 115. I'm going to have one more free play. Just stick around. I'm going to go through the co-main event and the main event now. The co-main event is sponsored by the AARP because these fighters are so damn old in it. One of which never ages, and the other one just ages incredibly every time I see him. Melvin Manhoef, he's coming back in the co-main event. He's got 29 wins by knockout. That's more fights than Yoel Romero has had. Unfortunately, none of those 29 knockouts have come against Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero, it all comes down to which Yoel Romero shows up. And even that's almost irrelevant. He's minus 700. It opened at minus 680. It's been bet up to minus 700. It's probably going to close around minus 1,000 because people do these dumb things where they drop 70,000 to win 5,000 and 70,000 to win 10,000. And Melvin Manhoef, good on him. He puts on a show. He's going to come out with a dog chain around his neck on a leash like he's some kind of crazy psychopath, but maybe he is because at the end of the day, he's 46 years old and he's lost 15 times and 12 of them have been by finish. But with Yoel Romero being 14-6, he's fought nothing but elite competition, but he's one of the most controversial fighters you'll ever see. You've seen it in his UFC fights where sitting on the stool an extra 5 minutes, well, trying to for an extra 5 minutes, get off the stool or the fight's over. Tough fighter out of Cuba, but who shows? Does the Romero show up that just plays with his food the whole fight and stalks him down and throws 1 or 2 punches around and tries to get a win? Does an aggressive Yoel Romero show up? Does a wrestling Yoel Romero show up? I mean, he's better everywhere than Manhoef. So the only bet to place here is, does Romero win by decision? Does Romero win by finish? Does Romero win by TKO, which is favored right now based on the odds? Do I agree with that? Not necessarily. So as a capper, my job is not only figure out who's going to win that fight, but to make money on the fight, to really make money and make some units on the fight. It's how will the fight end? It's when will the fight end? Will it go to the judges? Will it not go to the judges? Personally, all I can say on it is Manhoef does not have a prayer in the world of knocking out Yoel Romero. Like I said, he has 29 wins by knockout. He's now 46 years old. Yoel Romero can take a punch from anyone. If Paulo Costa didn't knock him out that night, no one is knocking him out. He has eaten some of the heaviest shots. He's never been finished. So Yoel, at his age of 45, nowhere near a glass jaw. Manhoef is just worn out. But which Romero shows up? The boring one, the charismatic one, the Nate Diaz-esque trash-talking, come-get-me one? You never know. Which brings us to our main event. Smooth Benson Henderson taking on the showstopper Peter Queally. I do not have a lean on this fight to release. All I can tell you is what we all know on it. If you've been following UFC for a long time, you've seen all the wars Benson Henderson's been in. He was a prominent killer when he took the title from Frankie Edgar. He was minus 170 when he fought Edgar, who was in his prime the first fight, and won the fight by decision, just like he wins 90% of his fights. The question in this fight is, will Peter Queally settle for losing a decision, or will he get reckless and maybe get submitted or maybe knock out Benson Henderson? Henderson has been tough to finish, but, Michael Chandler handled it no problem. Queally's no slouch. He just knocked out Ryan Scope, who is very tough. It seems like the majority think Henderson wins this fight. I've got no lean on it. Not in the video, at least. I will have a play tomorrow that would be sent to the subscribers, of course. But I gave you guys a free play on McCourt at plus 115. And it's trappy. I know it's trappy. I think 9 out of 10 people would probably think McCourt would win that fight. But with her being plus 115, the sharp money is going to be on Silva. A lot of money is going to come in on Silva. Nothing on my end to reflect why McCourt shouldn't win that fight. So that's free play number 1. Free play number 2, got a little bit of chalk to get it, but compared to what some of these are on this, it's not that much chalk. And it's Jordan Barton at minus 150. I just think that Adjoudj has not fought nearly the competition that Barton has fought. It's just a prelim. It's going to be a small play on my end. But your 2 free plays for Bellator 285. And don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like making money, watch these videos. Eventually, when you see enough free plays hitting, the 1 or 2 I'm going to give a week, hopefully make us sign a subscription. Even though I was 3-2 straight on Contender Series last week, to my subscribers, I was releasing 3-leg parlays that were plus 170 that were cashing. I had a plus 530 parlay that if Rosas Jr. got the submission win, it would have cashed. It was the last leg of it. But hey, that's all right. I never say we win every bet. Sometimes I don't even play for a percentage. These props that are plus 400, plus 500, plus 600, if I hit 25% of them, we're cashing a lot more money than we're putting out. So we've been cashing tickets. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram at the MMA Shark Capper. You can find me on Facebook at the MMA Shark. You can find me on My MMA News. You can find me over at Fight Bananas. And you can find me right here on YouTube. So take that extra second, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you're looking forward to. There's such a buzz right now about MMA in October. And like I said, there's still MMA left in September. So, we got Bellator 285 tomorrow. We have an LFA coming up. We have Cage Warriors next weekend. And then we have Dana White's Contender Series 10. And then we wrap around to next Saturday, October 1st, where UFC starts off their monster run to finish the year. October 1st to December 17th, Merry Christmas, because they are bringing the heat. Some of the best fights of the year are in the next 2.5 months. So, again, recap, 2 free plays that I'm giving is McCourt at plus 115. Female fights are tricky. She's at home. She's a better fighter. I think we have the judges if it goes to a decision, which it probably will. So I can't see them screwing it at home if the fight's close enough. And a prelim, Jordan Barton. I think experience pays big ends there on that fight. And I think he gets the win. I'm not saying to parlay them or anything. Take them each, whatever. Bet them a unit each. If you want plays on all 13 fights tomorrow, props, parlays, plays, long shot parlays. I love long shot parlays. We risk, small risk, big reward. Sometimes we're risking $5 to win 10,000. And I have hit them in the past. So I've hit perfect card parlays. I've hit parlays that were plus 7,000, plus 8,000. Not common, not often. But, if you're part of the team and if you're in there in a year of picks, you're gonna have some wins that are like that, and the goal of it is just to hit them occasionally. Nobody's out there hitting plus 8,000 parlays every day. So, but I've got the capability to do it. The work I put into this is unlike any other. The MMA Shark Corporation is rolling right now. 7-1 on cards this month. So take a peek at the link at the bottom of this video where you can click directly to sign up using code YouTube25. You don't even have to enter the code. Just click the link at the bottom. Make sure you subscribe. I'll be excited to do a recap video sometime this weekend on how my free plays did and how all of my system plays did. Win or lose, I'm going to be here to talk about them. And we're going to talk about Dana White's Contender Series Week 10. I have a big chip on my shoulder. I've been 4-1 4 times in the last 9 weeks. 7-2 coming in. I want to sweep one, so I'm hoping this is the week. I'm hoping this is the week we sweep one. But as long as it's a winning night, I'm happy. The subscribers are happy. As always, a huge appreciation and a shout out to my MMA Shark OG group. Been with me day one, several 2 to 3 years. Without you guys, the MMA Shark Corporation never would have been founded. So let's keep cashing tickets. Let's make some money. If you're followed today, I hope that you've followed my previous 3 videos. I know it's only my 4th video on YouTube, but if you have, I've made you some money. I like making people money. So Lima McCourt tomorrow and Jordan Barton tomorrow. Make a couple bucks on it. Until then, enjoy the fights and let's cash some tickets.